voice of Yahweh is calling to his people. Are we aware of this fact, and can we hear him? Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, day 1 of the book of Vayikra, Leviticus, a most exciting book, contrary to most popular opinion. Normally, this was the book that when you're reading the Bible through in a year, you get bogged down in and you quit. No need for that. It's more than exhaustive details about priestly conduct and various offerings. Rather, it is packed full with insightful information about who our Messiah really is. The text begins in the Scriptures version in English saying, "And Yahweh called to Moshe and spoke to him from the tent of appointment, saying." There's a lot of information in this very first verse. Let's begin by looking at the very first word, Vayikra. It begins with a Vav. In the Hebrew grammatical understanding, Vav means and. So the opening text begins with and. It actually follows through in the Scriptures translation. And what? And based on what? What we understand then is the conclusion of the book of Shemot or Exodus immediately then leads into the opening of the book of Vayikra or Leviticus. So these two books are vitally connected. Now, what has just happened in the book of Shemot? Moshe has just finished putting all of the implements of the tabernacle together. He has put all the veils in place, all the tapestries in place, all the structural coverings are in place. The linen wall is around the courtyard. The sacrifices have been offered. The blood has been applied. The oil of anointing has been applied. The incense is on the altar of incense. The showbread's on its table. The menorah has been lit. Everything is working according to the protocols that Yah has designed and requested. What happens? The Shekinah, the glory, the overwhelming manifested presence of the Most High fills this house to the place that Moshe is not able to enter in. And at that moment, then we would realize from the place over the mercy seat at the Ark of the Covenant, the voice of Yah begins to speak and to call to Moshe. He calls to him from the tent of appointment or the tent of meeting. What this says is that they got the pattern right. For all of the labor that they put into it, for all of the struggle that they may have had and manufacturing all that was requested of Yah and required of him, while yet in a wilderness setting. Mere slaves in previous months, not so long released, and not so far from failure. Remember, the gold calf is in recent memory. These people got it right. And the voice of Yah begins to speak. The glory of Yah is seen in a manifested form, and all Israel knows that Yahweh has officially moved into the very epicenter of their camp. The design is right. The creation is right. The function is right. The priesthood is in order. And this thing is actually going to work the way it was designed. What an amazing accomplishment, not for Yah, but for his people, to realize that they can hear his voice and follow his instructions, and the response of the creator of all the universe is overwhelming. Now, this word Yikra, it is spelled here in a unique fashion. It is spelled with a aleph at the end. Now, the reason that this is important to us is that we need to understand the aleph differentiates it between Yikra and Yakar. Well, what is the difference between these two words? Yakar means to happen upon by some happenstance. Didn't know that the meeting was going to take place, but oh well, there you are. Hadn't seen you forever. How are you doing? A happenstance meeting. Yikra, by comparison, it means a meeting that has been predestined, a meeting that was designed. It was an appointed meeting. It was something that was desired. So when Yah is calling, he is calling to us not out of happenstance, that we would stumble upon him by some means, that we would be singing a song and suddenly he would show up, or that we would be in a congregational function and suddenly he's there, but rather that we understand that when the pattern is right, when we do what he has requested of us, when we're walking in obedience and carrying out his commands, that he actually responds to that as if it is by design. It is by design. Yah yearns to fellowship with his people, to be among us, to reveal himself to us, and he wants to teach us to get the pattern right. Now, this also is an interesting thing in that Moshe had the opportunity on many occasions to go up on top of the mountain and there commune with Yah and receive instructions from him. Yah at times would send him down the mountain only to call him right back up again. While Moshe had that opportunity, and Moshe alone, now that the meeting is established, this house, this presence of Yah is manifested, what it says to us then is that the things that Yah has designed and desired, that they work. What do I mean by that? Blood sacrifices, mikvahs, oils, spices that cause smoke to rise up, what we would call incense, fragrances, priests walking in ceremonial robes, liturgies, protocols. These things work. Now, I was raised in a Pentecostal denomination, and it was our culture and understanding that we had to sing songs at a certain speed, or we had to follow a certain outline of a service, because when we had done those things in the past, the glory fell. And there was a power encounter with the Most High, and we felt his presence, and the gifts began to operate, and good things like healing and deliverance and joy and salvation and spirit and filling, all these things began to take place. And so we held to our customs and traditions, believing it was our customs and traditions that brought the glory. What we didn't understand was the mercy and the grace of Elohim revealing himself to us simply because we didn't know any better. We did the best that we understood. But this word is revealing to us that Yah has protocols. And whether we think much of incense smoke or not, it works for him. And whether we would believe that anyone would ever offer up a blood sacrifice again or not, Yah accepted it. Now, I understand the argument about blood sacrifices doing away with the atoning work of Yeshua, and that's a discussion for later on at some other time. But just suffice to say that in the millennial kingdom, when Yeshua is reigning upon the earth, according to the book of Ezekiel, Yehezkel, there will be blood sacrifices brought upon the altar, not to compete with the work of Yeshua, but to demonstrate it, to illustrate it, to help those that have never seen it to understand the work that Yeshua has done in our behalf. That's my best explanation. Regardless, the glory fell in such manifested form at the obedience of these people to what Yah had asked, that it far exceeds any manifestation that any of us have ever witnessed. So don't discount the book of Vayikra. Let's hold on. It's going to be a wild, wonderful, glorious ride. We'll talk more about this tomorrow as we continue in chapter 1. Until then, shalom.